who you are and what you want 100% should be in alignment with each other. Who you are is like your values, the things that you deem important in life. And what you want needs to align with who you are in order to live a fully joyful and purposeful life. For example, if you value adventure, then you probably yearn for new experiences, maybe travel and just experiencing new things. If you value creativity, maybe you just have a love of creating a garden or a meal or art. You want to create things and you're drawn to that, and you lose yourself in a task like that. Time stands still and you could do it all day long. Or maybe you love learning and you're drawn to books and new courses and instruction, and just learning about things draws you in, and you gobble it up. You gobble up new information and you have a curiosity about you. Those are your values. That's how those things, that whether it's those or other values, they need to be a part of your life and align with what you want for your life. Sometimes we think we want something that we grew up with, or society tells us that we should want. But really deep down, when you think about things, think about your life, think about what you value and who you are, maybe it's not quite in alignment. But sometimes it's hard to know because we get so lost and so caught up in life that we lose ourselves a little bit. There are some really great assessments, some tools to help paint a full picture of who we are, and they're not just fluff, they are research-backed tools. And it just gives us more of a framework about who we are as we, embark on this journey of discovery about ourselves, so that we can build a life that is joyful and purposeful. They reveal patterns about our lives and about us and who we are as people. One of them is the Clifton Strengths Test. I've taken all of these, by the way. The Clifton Strengths Test reveals your top 5 talents, what you're talented at, what you're good at. In each of these tests is nuanced. They each overlap a little bit, but they each come at it from a little bit of a different perspective. The VIA character assessment is about your signature strengths. Like if you have ever been to a gathering, a party of some kind, and you say, that had, I ended up back at the parking lot somehow, that had Jelana written all over it. That's like your signature strengths. You create an environment that has you written all over it. The Enneagram is more about personality style, personality traits, a personality framework, if you will. And then the last one is the Myers-Briggs. I've taken all of these, by the way, and the Enneagram was one of those that it's explained a lot about myself to me. And none of this is about putting you in a box, labeling. It's not about that. It is, in fact, more about painting a picture, creating that framework of who we are, and knowing that it's okay to be who we are. For example, that Enneagram, I have heard in my adult life many times that I always take the other side. Like if somebody is sort of griping to me a little bit, just venting a little bit to me, not at me, but to me, then I do have a tendency to be like, well, maybe that other person just meant, or maybe they were just trying to, or maybe they were feeling. And then I have heard, you always take the other person's side. And I kind of do. But when I read in my Enneagram report that that is typical of an Enneagram 9, I thought, oh man, you mean there's other people like me? You mean I'm not broken? I'm not flawed? I'm not a bitch? Sorry for my language. It's just how I'm wired. And gosh, that was so liberating. The Myers-Briggs is more about how you process the world around you. And what is fascinating to me is how they all overlap a little bit and they all are completely in alignment, at least in my case. The trick is when you take the assessment to not overthink it. Just don't think about it at all. What's the first thing that comes to your mind, the first answer, the first instinct, and just go with it. And they have a way that they have sort of scientifically, psychoanalytically designed the questions in such a way that even when you try to trick it a little bit, or you're trying to answer your best, it asks a lot of questions that are based in the same, gosh, how am I trying to say, that come to a similar conclusion, but they ask the questions in different ways, so that even when you try to sort of outsmart the test, they get you. Anyway, I've done it a few times. I've done a few of the tests a few of the times, and I seem to come up with the same answers. A point or two difference, but they're the same. And I find that very fascinating and very freeing, that I'm not, like I said, I'm not broken, I'm not flawed, that I can actually be who I am, and it's okay. And there's other people like me. A couple of the other tools that we can use are your ideal day. There's an ideal day exercise, and that is if nothing mattered, money, time, judgment, none of that matters, how would you spend your day? And I don't mean like, oh, laying on the beach with a Mai Tai. Not like that, because you would get bored of that. You can do that for a week, and then what? And then you're bored. So for real, in your life for the next 10 years, how do you want to spend your time? What would an ideal day look like? And when you go through that, would you get up early in the morning? Would you sleep in every day? What would you do? Where would you wake up? Would you just hurry up and get dressed and rush out the door to go do something exciting? Or would you like your mornings to be slow and relaxed and have your coffee sitting across the table from a loved one with a deep conversation, going for a walk to the corner store for a croissant or something like that? Or, whatever it is for you, what would that look like? Are you athletic in your ideal day? Are you educated in your ideal day? Are you on a beach? Are you in the mountains? It's, if you think about nothing matters, would you spend the day with your friends? Because their schedule doesn't matter, your schedule doesn't matter, time doesn't matter, but just your preference, because these are clues. And a lot of times I've done this exercise with a number of people, and that morning thing is why I said that, because a lot of people talk about how they would spend more time with their loved ones. They would move through their day with more intention, or with less stress. And a lot of times we have to stop and think, how much of that could we do now? Like, what's stopping us from implementing some of our ideal day right now? Why can't we walk to the corner store for the croissant? Or, well, we don't really have a corner store here, but you could drive. You could drive to the corner store. You could get them the night before so that they're ready in the morning. Like, how much of your ideal day could you implement right now and do it? What else could move you closer to that ideal day? Another exercise is to think about, if you had nothing to do, no obligations, nothing pressuring you, what would you Google just for fun? What would you start to look up and learn more about, or immerse yourself in just because you can? Or what about the funeral exercise? It's like you're at the end of life, and everybody you know, everybody you've known, your friends, your family, your coworkers, your neighbors, everybody's there. What would you want them to say about you? What would you want them to talk about in terms of your achievements, your legacy? What have you experienced? What have you accomplished by that time? That exercise gets me, actually. And there are things that that I want to do in the next 20 years. So all of these things are meant to be a discovery. They're meant to be playful. They're meant to be joyful and fun, and should just bring you closer to discovering yourself, because you're allowed to be who you are, and you're allowed to want what you want. And you can use this information to help you make your community, make your family, make the people around you better, just a little bit better. And when you have this information, you can move through the world, you can show up daily just a little bit more confident, knowing that you do the things you do, you say the things you say, because you're wired that way, and it's okay. Okay, so for my example, I may try to not voice my opinions so much, dog barking, knowing that maybe it makes other people feel like I am attacking or taking sides. Maybe I can withhold some of that and be more sensitive, but it doesn't mean I'm trying to change who I am, and I no longer feel guilty for being that way, for I'm not taking sides. I'm just seeing it from both perspectives, and I no longer feel guilty about doing that. It's just the way I'm wired, and I think it's a gift. I think it's a gift to be able to try to approach any situation from both sides. The point is, you are the CEO of your own life, and you deserve to live it the way that makes you feel joy and feel purposeful and feel fulfilled. I am Jelana, and if you're new here, I'm so happy you found this space. And if you're returning, then welcome back, and I'm happy that you're here. I started by saying that our identity and what we want, who we are and what we want, need to align. And if you want to learn more about identity, then you